music is like a language, and we can communicate, we can evoke feelings and express ourselves, and sometimes like even say things that we cannot really put into words. But what are the building blocks?
Well, we try to list the 10 most important parts about trying to make a jazz piece. Like we spoke about, there's texture, but then we spoke about groove as an ingredient, all these ingredients like the mood.
Is any of you familiar with the word groove and the concept of what groove is, and what does it, if so, what would it mean to you?
It's something that's everyone feels, and it doesn't almost have to be said.
Absolutely.
Or like said in words, it's just communicated through the music.
Breaking it down and going into very basic elements of the music that I hadn't fully explored and that I wouldn't normally fully explore because I kind of take it all for granted when I'm preparing normally. That was a really interesting and useful thing to do.
Then emotion and feel, that's in the realm of, I think, where a groove resides. It's this personal part. It's this thing that only you can express the way you can express it. Especially if we're playing music that we're creating in the moment.
We listened to So What by Miles Davis. And then the aim of our project was to create a sort of similar or inspired sort of jazz song or jazz standard.
When you listen to it, given all the information that I gave you just now and how, like, all the different parts of music, try to listen to it and see how every individual approaches it.
Generally just 2 chords and then the melody changing depending on the chord. We decided we'd kind of base our ideas off that initially. It does change.
Today I wanted to get going and get started on basically creating something, come up with a rhythm in a determined tempo and with a distinct feel. It could be what you decide as a group.
I never sat in a circle and tried to compose any jazz, let alone with musicians who may not be so experienced at jazz as well.
What was the process like, and where are you now with it?
I think the thing we find the hardest is to try and figure out what groove we want and then how to actually put that into practice. We've kind of got an idea by which we're going to have a walking bass and then like a piano that's more percussive, like stab chords on like the offbeats.
Mm-hmm.
I was really interested in creating some of the more harmonic elements because that's just something I really enjoy, is creating chord changes.
The first thing we did was try to, before we made any sort of melody, was choose the chords, because that's often just the base of any jazz piece.
In music, and especially if we're creating something in the moment, a lot of it is what we call tension and release. Phoebe, would you be willing to give it a go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Play however you want to play it, but try and use those scales. So the A minor over the A minor and the D. Yeah, nice.
That wrong.
Nice. No. You did good.
Then we kind of tried to come up with a catchy melody that would change, or like a pattern that would alter throughout the bars, depending on the chords.
If you wanted to write one out, there's a whiteboard function apparently. I just found this out today, and you can like write on it. So.
Oh really?
So you can like draw a thing out, and everyone can see it.
Okay. Ah.
Just draw like.
Like for a rhythm, you don't need lines, just like notes. Do you know what I mean? Probably the easiest way to build a melody as a group like this when we're on Zoom.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You could do something like that where it goes up and down and then resolves.
Obviously, bass line is not really my area, but for people who are interested in doing some sort of thing like that, you can do quite a nice bass line with the thirds, which goes, if you're changing on the half bars, goes C, E, F, A, B, D, E, G, A. Like that.
You made this, so that's wonderful. That's really cool what you did. So I think you can be really proud of yourselves, because creating something like this, not being in the same room together and having to do it with multiple people, work as a collective to create one thing, that's not an easy thing to do.
I've just found it really helpful to have these residencies that I need to prepare for, because obviously all my normal concerts have been cancelled, competitions, lessons are maybe not happening.
I would have assumed that some people might have come out of lockdown after, like 8 months with their violin, wanting to smash it. But it's been quite the opposite, I've found. They've found other things they like. They found ways to enjoy their instrument, and I think especially with things like this, in situations like this, they've come to realise more how important any form of music making is to our society.